As the world mourns Pope Francis, history's most secretive transfer of power begins. White smoke, the path to a new pope, guides you through this momentous transition. We explain exactly what happens next, leading to the dramatic conclave vote. Learn how each ritual unfolds, what each tradition means, and why these ancient ceremonies still matter today. Follow along as the throne of St. Peter stands empty and a new chapter in church history begins. White Smoke, available wherever you get your podcasts.
In Washington, D.C., power flows through information. But what happens when the most sensitive military intelligence in the world ends up on the wrong phone? In the halls of power, a national security advisor makes a fatal miscalculation. On the other side of the world, a special forces team walks into a perfectly orchestrated trap. When the dust settles, 4 American soldiers are dead, 3 more captured. And the most catastrophic intelligence breach in modern history is just beginning to unravel. Signal Lost, a 6-part podcast thriller about betrayal, courage, and the devastating consequences of a world where even our most guarded communications are never truly secure. When everyone is listening, nowhere is safe. Signal Lost, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Calaroga Shark Media.
The Pope's tomb in the Basilica of St. Mary Major has been constructed using slate stone from the Italian region of Liguria, honouring the homeland of his maternal ancestors. Cardinal Rolandus Macricus, co-archpriest of the Basilica, confirmed that this was specifically requested by Francis, who wanted to be buried in what he called the Stone of Liguria, the land of his grandparents. This is White Smoke, the path to a new pope. The tomb, located near the altar of St. Francis, in a niche between the Pauline Chapel, home to the revered Salus Populi Romani icon of the Virgin Mary, and the Sforza Chapel, in keeping with Francis's emphasis on simplicity, bears only the Latin inscription Franciscus and a reproduction of his pectoral cross. This connection to Liguria remained largely private throughout Francis's life. His great-grandfather, Vincenzo Sivori, emigrated from the small town of Cogorno to Argentina in the 1800s, where he raised his family. That family included Regina Maria Sivori, who would become the Pope's mother. The revelation came as a surprise even to the Pope's distant relatives still living in Cogorno. Angela Sivori and her daughter Christina described the Pope's request as one last surprise and a wonderful gift to the family. The two women only discovered their connection to the pontiff after his election in 2013, when they received a call from Buenos Aires and a family tree by email. They eventually met Francis in 2017 during his visit to Geneva. Christina recalled the Pope warmly greeting them, smiling and exclaiming, "At last, I meet the Sivoris." Franca Garbino, president of the Slate district in Liguria, noted that slate is not a noble stone, but rather the people's stone that gives warmth, characteristics that seem fitting for a pope who emphasized humility and closeness to ordinary people throughout his papacy. This connection to Liguria adds yet another layer to the Pope's final journey, reflecting how even in death, Francis chose to honour his family roots and humble origins. As Catholics worldwide mourn Pope Francis, attention is now turning to the upcoming conclave that will select his successor. In an unusual coincidence, last year's Oscar-nominated film, Conclave, depicted a fictional papal election just months before we're witnessing the real thing. The movie, directed by Edward Berger and starring Ralph Fiennes, has seen renewed interest following Francis's death on Monday. Now available again on Prime Video, after a brief absence, the film offers viewers a dramatized glimpse into the secretive process about to unfold in the Vatican. Several leading candidates for the papacy bear striking resemblances to characters from the film. Vatican Secretary of State Pietro Parolin enters as a frontrunner, much like the Dean of Cardinals portrayed by Fine. As the most senior cardinal able to participate, Parolin will help guide the proceedings. On the conservative side, Hungarian Cardinal Péter Erdő stands as the leading traditionalist voice. Like the film's Cardinal Tedesco, he represents those concerned with preserving church doctrine against progressive reforms. Meanwhile, Filipino Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle emerges as a progressive favorite from the global south. Already dubbed the gay internet's favorite papal candidate for his relatively welcoming stance toward the LGBTQ+ community, Tagle shares similarities with the movie's Cardinal Benitez. Italian Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, known for his bicycle rides through Bologna and work as a Ukraine envoy, brings the charisma and progressive outlook reminiscent of Stanley Tucci's Cardinal Bellini. From Africa, Ghana's Cardinal Peter Turkson carries strong credentials on poverty and conflict resolution. Should he succeed, he would become the first African pope in over a millennium. Even Canada has a contender in Cardinal Gérald Lacroix of Quebec, whose administrative background echoes John Lithgow's character in the film. The conclave is expected to begin in early May, following the 9 days of mourning for Pope Francis. While no one can predict the outcome of this ancient and secretive process, what's certain is that reality, just like in the movies, will feature its own surprising twists and turns before white smoke signals a new pope. Mourners taking selfies with Pope Francis's body sparked outrage both inside St. Peter's Basilica and across social media. Unlike when Pope John Paul II died in 2005, before smartphones became ubiquitous, many visitors approached the casket with phones raised high, some even using selfie sticks to capture images of themselves with the deceased pontiff. The behavior created tension among mourners, many of whom had waited in lines stretching up to 8 hours to pay their respects. Vatican security staff occasionally intervened, asking visitors to show more appropriate reverence. Catherine Gilsonan, who travelled from London, told reporters she felt deeply moved being near the Pope, but found the picture-taking disturbing. The situation highlights a cultural clash between the 2,000-year-old traditions of the Catholic Church and modern social media habits. While Pope Francis himself was known for embracing modern communication and worked to modernize many aspects of the Church, the collision of ancient funeral rites with smartphone culture has created an unexpected point of controversy during this period of mourning.
You can get this podcast completely ad-free right now. If you're on Apple, just click the banner that says Uninterrupted Listening, and you'll get your first month free. If you use Spotify or other podcast players, go to calaroga.com/plus. It's just $5 a month, and you'll get access to over 20 premium shows with no interruptions. Binge listen to new series like the political thriller Acting President, Signal Lost, where military secrets land on the wrong phone, and Pager Protocol, the thriller about exploding pagers in the wrong hands. Plus, enjoy daily shows like Palace Intrigue about the royal family, daily comedy news, and 5 daily trivia questions to test your knowledge, and White Smoke, taking you behind the scenes at what's happening right now at the Vatican. You also get all our hot shows like 5 Good News Stories. Enjoy your favorite content without any ad breaks. Remember, Apple users click the Uninterrupted Listening banner for your free first month, and everyone else head to calaroga.com/plus. Get ad-free listening today.
While Pope Francis never returned to his native Argentina after becoming head of the Roman Catholic Church, his presence was deeply felt there this week, especially through an uncanny coincidence involving his lifelong passion for soccer. Francis was a devoted fan and card-carrying member of San Lorenzo, one of Buenos Aires' popular soccer clubs. What's captured attention across Argentina is the number on his membership card, 88235. Many Argentinians are pointing out that Francis died at age 88 at precisely 2:35 a.m. Argentina time on Easter Monday, a numerical alignment that many faithful see as a final message home. "It has to be destiny," said one fan who attended a special mass at the chapel, considered the spiritual birthplace of the San Lorenzo club. Across Buenos Aires, tributes to Francis appeared at significant locations from his life: his childhood home, the Metropolitan Cathedral where he served as Archbishop, and the Basilica de San José de Flores, where an engraving marks the exact date he received his calling to the priesthood in 1953. The Argentine government declared 7 days of official mourning, but the commemorations were not entirely somber. The Mass at San Lorenzo's chapel ended as something closer to a pep rally, and the team wore special jerseys honouring Francis during their match on Saturday, just hours after his funeral in Rome. There's discussion about naming a new stadium, Papa Francisco, though in characteristic humility, Francis once wrote that he didn't care for that idea. While Pope, he maintained his connection to the team's fortunes through a Swiss guard who would leave match results on his desk, as Francis had given up watching television since 1990. We'll continue to have daily updates for the foreseeable future. Please join us every Sunday for our regularly scheduled episode of White Smoke, The Path to a New Pope, where we explore humanity's most elaborate and secretive transfer of power. White Smoke is a production of Calaroga Shark Media. Executive producers John McDermott and Mark Francis.